Hey there everyone, I'm Cassandra from CassandraTyndall.com, and today's video we're going to be talking about the wonderful aspect between Venus and Jupiter this week. So we've had a lot of tough astrology of late, the last sort of 18 months minimum. And so when we do get these really lovely aspects, it really does give us an opportunity to lean into what is hopeful, supportive and good. So we do get the opportunity to do that this week. So Venus will leave Gemini and she will ingress into Cancer tomorrow, my time, which will be June 2. So it'll be June 2 across all of the time zones. So to give you a little bit of an idea, if you're on the west coast of the USA, she'll ingress into Cancer first thing in the morning around 6:15 in the morning, 6:18. Here in Australia, it'll be later in the evening around 18 minutes past 11. And she will be in Cancer until around the 26th, the 27th of June. So in my monthly overview video, and I'll pop a little link up there for you, you will get to look a little bit deeper into the aspects of this month. So Venus will be in Cancer until around June 26, 27. So the majority of the month, we do have this support from Venus. Now, Venus in Cancer in of herself, she doesn't really hold any special dignity or any extra gifts in Cancer, but it's one of those planet sign combinations that do operate well together. So Venus is a planet of connection. She binds, she unifies things. She's kind of a moderate sort of level of coolness. She's not hot, she's not cold, and she is also moist, or she has wetness. And the sign of Cancer, being a water sign, is that as well. So Venus in Cancer is really great for emotions. It's water. She's great for comfort, nurturing, that feeling of being held or being cuddled or supported in that real sort of classically maternal way. And then as she goes through Cancer, she's going to make that beautiful trine to Jupiter, who is already in Pisces. And that's going to happen at 1 degree Cancer Pisces. So if you have planets or points around that sort of 0 to sort of 4 degrees, it's a really, really benefic, supportive influence in your birth chart. So not only do we have Venus, who is a benefic planet, Jupiter is as well. And so in astrology, the two benefics, Venus and Jupiter, are considered to be life-affirming. So when something is life-affirming, it's said to be life-giving. It's supportive, it's conducive to growth, it's conducive to support and expansion to some extent. And so when these aspects are taking place across water signs, we can expect that it will be a level of support or growth through perhaps our emotions or the way that we feel. It could also be around our bodies. So one of the key elements about water is, again, the idea of connection. Water unifies and binds things. I know I've probably said this here in videos before, but the old analogy of when you are baking a cake and you take those dry ingredients like your flours, your sugars or what have you, then you add the eggs, the butter and the milk, and that's where you get that beautiful connected, that beautiful batter, and it's going to be something really yummy and tasty and nurturing and emotionally comforting to eat that food. So we've got these two beautiful planets. So Jupiter is in its own sign of Pisces, and in that yin, nocturnal, introspective version of Jupiter. So it is this real opportunity to this week and throughout this month to really kind of step into our feelings, step into our emotions. And water is such a primary focus, not only of our bodies, but of the tides, of our animals, and of our planet. So water is just so life-affirming and essential. So we're really kind of being invited with this aspect is to really maybe step away from some of the more turbulent skies, some of the itchy, scratchy parts of June, and take that little step out or that step away and feel into the body, feel into our emotions. And what signals are my emotions telling me? What signals is my body giving me that I need to pay attention to or slow down and fully kind of process? So when you're always kind of vibrating really highly in a sense of anxiousness or survival mode, we really do get disconnected from the body. So this aspect really invites us to just take that slow, deep breath and where am I situated or placed in the bigger picture of things? So when we look at Venus in Cancer and Jupiter in Pisces, not only are they making this really supportive aspect between each other, there's a whole lot of reception going on there. And so in astrology, when we're talking about reception, it's this idea of you've got something that supports me and I've got something that supports you. Let's work together. Let's share our resources. Let's share what we have and we can make hay, so to speak. And when that's happening through the aspect of the trine, that exchange of support happens really easily. So planets in Cancer naturally support Jupiter because Jupiter finds its exaltation in Cancer. And Venus finds its exaltation in Pisces, the sign that Jupiter is currently occupying. So there's so much ripe, fecund activity, particularly this week. Now, when I was thinking about how to really encapsulate this aspect and the wisdom of children, right? So I was watching Minecraft videos on YouTube with my son last night and, having our cup of tea time, which is one of our nightly traditions. And yes, we're both Cancerians, so we do love our blankies in the winter and cups of tea time. And we'll watch a show that he wants to watch before bedtime. And so he's right into Minecraft right now. And there was this segment and he said to me, Mum, what's a lagoon? And I said, well, I explained this part of the Gold Coast to him that we know. And it's, literally a body of protected water. So it might be protected by rocks or sand dunes or like a big bank or something like that. So it's a safe place of calm. It is protected from the sort of turbulent ocean, but it's still connected to that ocean. But there is this place where you can almost get reprieve or respite or to catch your breath or sort of sink into that stillness. So I think this Venus-Jupiter aspect is almost like our cosmic lagoon this week in particular, that we can rest into stillness or sink into a gentler flow of water and into our bodies and into our emotions and all of those type of things as well. So it also reminds me of a book I read many, many, many moons ago. And it's so long ago, I can't even really remember the contents of it. But the title was called Kitchen Table Wisdom. So it was this book of stories and those kind of connections and conversations that really only take place when you're maybe at the matriarch of your family or, the head of your friendship circle, or we all have those people in our life. Well, I hope we all have those people in our life where when we can pour that cup of tea, sit down at the kitchen table and really talk, really connect about our feelings, our emotions, and that feeling of being nurtured or heard or seen. And it's that real feeling of TLC when Venus in Cancer connects with Jupiter. And Jupiter is also a very expansive, it's generous. So there may be this idea here where you will share feelings with others and they are really heard and understood and supported by somebody else, or you could play that role for somebody else. So it also reminds me a little bit of something that Gabby Bernstein would often say in some of her teachings. So she's a metaphysical kind of teacher. And she often reminds us that we do have the right to feel good. And when we can sink into our feelings, sink into our bodies, we can really understand, okay, what's a little bit off kilter? And water is such a brilliant barometer for where our bodies are at. And if you think about the idea, that movie a long time ago, I think it was What the Blip Do We Know? And they were testing water, if it was in a negative energy or if it was in a happy or loving or supportive energies, the qualities of that water actually changed. And so this week, we're really invited to step into a feeling or step into a place or seek connection with others that really will help shift our vibration or shift our outlook or shift our feelings, that can help us grow, to help us expand, and to help us feel good, literally. So when Venus and Jupiter get together, there is this sense of genuine care and concern. There's this rapport between the two planets. And in the water signs, it might be a care or concern that might be a little bit more moral support in nature as opposed to practical support. So the idea of someone having a shoulder to cry on, or an agony aunt, or the idea of that kitchen table wisdom. You also might recognize that when you tap into your feelings and into your body, and how you feel when you're around certain people or certain situations can really be an indicator of what is kind of right for you or what may not be. So keep in mind, we are in the middle of eclipse season, and we've just come, or still in the portal, and we have just had our total lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. So you might be starting to feel perhaps a little bit more sensitive about situations or about people that are not philosophically aligned with you. So part of this connective support with Venus and Jupiter is to actively move towards things that are supportive of you. Maybe people who share similar philosophical values, and maybe that desire or that urge to really connect at not just a emotional level, but also a philosophical and spiritual level as well. Now, even though there's not a lot wrong with this aspect, I'm going to be honest, but all planets, signs, and houses do have, and aspects do have their spectrum between, super positive and versus, potentially really negative. Now, that being said, there's not a great deal wrong with this, but there are a couple of things to watch for. So I'll just bring those to your attention. Cancer placements can be a little passive aggressive. They can have a propensity towards laziness or everything being dependent on feeling or emotion. So when you have that, propensity being expanded and supported by Jupiter in Pisces, and the sign of Pisces can also, lean into being a victim, or look at all the things I do to support you, look at all the things that I do to help you, and wanting some kind of recognition or reward for that. So that's just a little something to watch for. And particularly if you feel that you are in a situation where you are not getting that emotional or philosophical or moral support from someone, just be mindful of that kind of little bit of a passive aggressive dynamic there, or even that sort of victim martyr type of dynamic too. Now, this aspect, if you are not getting that needed connection that you are craving, and Cancer is a sign that really does crave that. So if you find yourself digging into the lolly jar or the candies or the sweets, whatever you call lollies, we call them lollies, but I know in the US it's candy. If you find yourself going to the sugar, for sweetness in your life, I know times in my own life where I'm craving sugar, I'm craving sweets. I might just stop and ask myself, where am I lacking sweetness in my life? So it might be about doing something supportive for yourself, a self-care ritual, or buying something that, a little trinket or a treat that will feel good for you. If you are turning to the bottle, for example, drinking too much, or, the wine time is beginning to get a little consecutive nights, and just, before you know it, the bottle count each week has, stacking up, you might ask yourself, where am I lacking connection? alcohol is very watery. It blurs boundaries. It's that idea of escapism. So it might be, what am I really wanting to connect to at a deeper level? So Jupiter is generous, it's kind, it's benevolent, and it's fair. So it is going to help with the idea of luck, of fortune, and of also being, in this very watery space right now, connection. So you might find yourself being able to connect with somebody who could be the bearer of some luck or fortune or support in your life. Or the converse may be true, where you are in a position where you can give somebody that pearl of wisdom or that shoulder to cry on as you pour another cup of tea or a glass of wine, whatever works for you. So there's this idea of a mutual support going on that is at an emotional level. If you found yourself in a relationship or a life situation where you really are feeling very unsupported, or you've hit a rough patch, and usually when we say a rough patch, it means it's kind of dry and it's rocky. With this abundance of water coming through, it might also help you to sort of like lubricate or grease the wheels of areas of your partnership where things have not been going so well. So with the optimistic outlook of Jupiter, you might be able to connect and look forward to a future vision or a hope for the future. By connecting at a real sort of compassionate, emotional level with each other, realizing that you're on the same page, you can, use this aspect to help you look forward with hope and connect emotionally so you can move through to the future. You set your sights to the future again, rather than those immediate problems that will keep you stuck or stagnant. So water flows, water can move. So if you can reconnect, you can kind of get that movement and motion back into a troubled partnership. So that's the aspect of the week. There is a lot to look forward to with this and a lot to lean into. My key tip with this is to always listen to the body. There's a lot of books out there. The body keeps score, the body as a barometer for the soul, and even a lot of yogic principles. It's all about the breath and the belly. And that's kind of what can really connect you to what is going on in your body. So the idea of the lagoon, if you do feel that you've hit that turbulence in the skies, or there's an underlevel of anxiety or worry or stress about the future, get out of that ocean of changing currents and step into your own lagoon and allow those more still waters to calm you, to nourish you, and to help you get back a sense of equilibrium as we move through deeper into the month of June. So I'm going to put a couple of links in the bottom of the show notes here where you can connect to some of my blogs. I've written a little bit more about the astrology of June, and as well as some other offerings. So I do have a new course coming out. It's part of a 2-year program, and we're going to be starting with the houses. I'm really looking forward to teaching that. That starts at the end of this month. I'll pop those in the comments, the show notes, but down below. And of course, there's my Golden Circle Club. So if you really do want to get more insight in advance around the upcoming aspects each and every month, a lot of support in the circle. There's a lot of different resources to help you accelerate your astrology studies or just tap into the moving rhythms of the sky. That is all there for you too. So I really do hope that you get the opportunity to connect with a source of sustenance and nurturing this week under Venus trine Jupiter. Okay, bye for now.